Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I have a particularly interesting knife unboxing video to share with you guys. So, I got a message from Kubey literally this morning, and I didn't look at it right away. I looked at it, when I got back to the house, and I realized, oh my goodness, I cannot believe that this is the knife that's coming to me. And it showed up and it was here. I assume that that's what it is. I haven't actually opened it up yet. I mean, it has a code on it, not the name of the knife, but I'm almost certain that I know exactly what this is. And as soon as I open it up, a bunch of you are going to realize why I am so interested. Don't worry, I'm going to share it all with you. I'm going to share all that information with you. I will link this knife in the description so that you guys can check it out if you'd like to. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that is entirely up to you. Thanks to Kubey for sending it in. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. Is it what I think? If it's not, I'm going to have to redo the intro. Yeah, it is. Oh, man. Do you guys recognize this? I got to open it. Hold on. We got to cut it open. You guys recognize this knife? I'm very, very curious to see if it actually feels identical to the one I reviewed years ago. So this is the legitimately Kubey made. Oh my gosh. Hold on. It does. It feels exactly the... Okay. So this is the Kubey and Hoback knives Sumo. So why am I making a big deal out of this? Well, me and essentially everyone else assumed for the longest time that all of Jake Hoback's knives were made in the United States, right? It turns out that only some of his knives are, and certain ones were not. Like, this information was not disclosed to us. Again, this was years ago. This all has come to light, right? And the drama of it has come, and it's peaked and it's come back down. So I'm not trying to rile anybody up. I'm not saying get your pitchforks and your torches. Don't do that, right? But this information was not disclosed to us, and it was not disclosed to retailers. Now, admittedly, back then, years ago, I was much like, I'm not like perfect. I can't tell you that I can always identify Chinese manufacturing versus American manufacturing. I'm better at it now. But I was, maybe a little bit naive, or I just didn't quite understand. But I remember back when I handled this knife, however many years ago, I thought, this is really amazing. I mean, wow. Jake Hoback is making a really nice knife, considering it's made in the United States. Do you guys remember what he was charging for this? I do. I'm pretty sure it was close to $500. And we find out that this is not made in the United States. I'm wondering now if it has been Kubey. And maybe you guys know. Maybe you guys know, and you're like, yeah, they're like, we've known that forever, and now you're just now finding. I've known for a long time that they weren't actually made in the United States, right? That was embarrassing as a knife, content creator. But it was done. I was like, oh man, like I assumed this was made in the USA, and now it turns out it's not. But the good that came out of it is that it highlighted like, hey, you can't do that. You can't say that it's made, or you can't, hint at the fact that you got to be transparent about it, right? And you have to be like aggressively transparent about it, because it's not good. It's just not good business, right? You want to be honest. That's a huge part of anything, right? Just being honest. If you're selling something to, if you have an intended audience, then or a consumer base or whatever, you have to be transparent about where your knives are made. And that's a big one, right? Claiming or insinuating US made when it is not, and it's made in China is the biggest no-no, right? So after handling this, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Kubey has been making them the entire time. But that gives you because these, I just went and looked, and these are $270, right? Which is, like that's way way more accurate, right? Considering the materials and the machining and the fact that it's made in China, that's the general territory that we see this stuff in. So that gives you an idea of the insane markup that was on these things a long time ago, right? And again, all of this has come to pass, right? But I was very, very curious to find if this felt exactly the same. So yeah, the truth is, and it's like I always say, I'm not in the business of reviewing people. And some people get really upset with me and are like, why have you not banished this person to the Shadow Realm? Or why are you still talking about this? Or why have you, and I'll tell you this again, it's the same thing I've always said. I don't review people. I review knives, right? So if a knife comes in, I'm going to give my thoughts on it, right? But it's also has to be something that I'm genuinely interested in. This feels the same that it did years ago, right? And years ago, it was really impressive. Number one, I mean, it would have been impressive even if I knew that it was made in China, but I didn't know. I legitimately thought like, wow, this is like somebody's making this in the USA. This is incredible. It's very smooth. Now, fast forward to 2024. How do I feel about this design now? Well, it's a button lock, right? It's also got this low profile flipper tab, which works, but it's not super comfortable. The thumb triangle stop things are probably the easiest and most comfortable way to deploy this, right? And the little, ledge there works really, really well to, deploy the blade like the reverse flick, right? How good is Kubey's plunge lock? Pretty good, right? That's all the more it has to do on this channel, right? I don't really care to put too much force on there. But yeah, like now, taking a look at this again, ergonomically, that pocket clip is not super comfortable. I don't like that it falls back here. I'll have to actually go look at my previous, like my past video. If I remember correctly, I didn't remove it. I think it just says that, like, please see description or something like that. Like, I don't know what I did. I think I had to, like, maybe it says please see the pinned comment or something like that. Or I had to correct it because I didn't want a video out there saying, like, reviewing something as a US made knife if it ended up not being, right? But, I remember watching a lot of Hoback stuff or seeing, like, knives made by Hoback showcased on other channels. And he was always named alongside a lot of other US knife makers, right? So I just took that blindly and assumed. And as, I progressed through this knife world, there were a lot of situations where we find out, not everybody's doing that. It's the same thing that I've been saying this whole time. It's transparency, right? I mean, anybody can be fooled. And I was definitely, one of those people, and it didn't feel good, right? Especially finding out that because the price associated with it was exactly in line with what I assume it would cost if it was actually made in the United States, right? And that was intentional. It wasn't a coincidence, right? So yeah, nobody likes to feel stupid. I didn't like to feel stupid, but I definitely felt stupid after showcasing that one. And I felt like I had let down the people who watch my channel by, not being accurate about it. But in this case, we have obviously the legitimate, like, Kubey is making this. And I feeling this, I assume that Kubey has been making it the whole time, right? It just feels, from what I remember, exactly the same. But I need to go back and look at that video and see if there are changes. I feel like the pocket clip isn't the same. Maybe it is, but I feel like it's not exactly the same. The knife itself is very smooth, and it is made very well. I mean, Kubey is a good OEM. They do a good job, generally, right? Everybody has hiccups, but they do a good job machining titanium, and in this case, I think it's 20 CV. Did we see that there? Yeah. So the Sumo is it's an interesting knife. It's definitely got a lot of personality. It's got a lot of character. Not that it's a completely and totally unique design. This was a lot more special back, if I remember correctly, was it 2018, 2019 when the Sumo, like, was everywhere? Something like that. I think it was a lot, it seemed a lot more special. Nowadays, I feel like we have stuff like this all over the place, right? So, yeah, I mean, if you like it, sure, it seems fine. But by today's standards, you know, I mean, 2019, 2020, whenever this came, that's ancient history. The knife world has, I mean, this is legit. Well, it might have been incredibly special back then. This is now just kind of in line with what we expect from $200 to $300, titanium 20 CV, and a Chinese OEM. You know, we see this a lot. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, right? But your reasons for buying, not buying, whatever, like that's entirely up to you. I will review this. I will legitimately like completely re-review it and give my thoughts on it. But how interesting to come to this point after all these years. So anyways, that's going to be it. I'll measure it here real quick. I probably should have done that earlier. But the overall length of the Sumo is coming in at 7¼ inches. Blade length is coming in at 3¼ Cutting edge is 3 inches. Your weight on this guy, probably 4, like high 4s. I bet it's like 4.8 ounces. Almost 4.5 ounces. So, okay. That's going to be it. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.